for this series, do we even call it Dr. Stone? Or do we call it Tarzan? Because this new character that we got introduced in, way too OP. Way too OP. But how's it going, ladies and gentlemen? My name is Richard Flame. Welcome back to my Dr. Stone anime review. So, episode 2 now within this series, and I'll have to say, I still love this plot of what it's going for, just because in the last episode, we knew that humanity all turned to stone, and basically these two main characters, both Senku and Taiju, are trying to rebuild humanity. And with this new episode here, we get introduced into a new character today, which is Shizu, if I'm saying his name correctly. So Shizu is another student that went to the same school as Senku and Taiju. And this has me a lot of worry and a lot of questions within this series of people turning to stone, because this guy is OP. So we see that Senku and Taiju are both running away from these lines, because basically this is the stone world right now, and you feel like the humanity is not on top of the food chain anymore, as Senku says. It's basically all these animals and the big free-for-all, because there's basically no laws, and basically Earth is just freedom right now. And they have, of course, this serum that they were able to make, but it was, of course, a 1-year process of them making it. You know, they revived a bird from it, and they're about to go and restore Shizu. But the worst part about it is that Taiju was trying to be a respectable guy, but at the exact same time, though, I didn't kind of agree with this plan. It's like, he's a respectable guy. You know, every time if you're breaking out a stone, you're basically butt naked, and he wanted to put clothes on her before this serum worked, and she returns to normal, and she's not part of a rock anymore. But at the exact same time, it's like, bro, this is a stone world, anything could happen. Like, he's trying to carry her back to camp, and it was a perfect example of the lines coming right here, that if you would have dropped her, this is stone after all, if that's stone, or if she loses a leg, that's gone right there. And the perfect example with humanity right there is we saw a lot of people even die in their stone form before it actually got to the stone world age, is that it's basically humanity is fragile. One person is fragile, and they didn't really have a lot of time because, of course, we had the lions chasing them within this episode. But at the exact same time, it's like, bro, who cares if they're naked? Just use a serum on it. They're back to normal. Just look away. They'll find leaves or whatever to cover yourself up. But instead of them recovering Shizu with the serum, of course, they decided to do with another student, which is like this big brawn dude from their school. And it has me questioning within this series is that if they've been in this stone form for so long, we haven't really seen that with Senku or Taiju right now. But do they get kind of like superpowers or something with their body, or is that just what Shizu's character was in the first place? Because we see this guy low-key wake up, and you know, usually if you wake up from the stone, you're figuring out where you are, what happened to the world, you're freaking out, you might be paranoid. That'd be me, for example, or to anyone else that you're waking up, that you return to stone, you come back over 3,000 years later and you're wondering what's going on. This guy kept his tone and is like, okay, there's lines right here at my 3 o'clock. I'm just gonna falcon punch this line in the face, kill it, scare off the other lions, act cool about it, and then skin it and use it for meat, and let's go back to camp. That's basically what this guy was. Like, he had a calm mind this whole entire time. And it's like, is this what his character was? Is this how strong he was this whole entire time? Back in, I don't know, 2019, 2020. I'm just putting up an example like that. If that was their world before they went to 5738, I do believe they're at right now within the Dr. Stone series. But they go back to camp here afterwards. They tell them basically all the information, that they're over 3,000 years since they turned into stone. We have a laboratory right here. We're trying to create this serum so we could all save humanity, etc. like that. And they just brought another brute force dude, and it's basically looking like, hey, here's Shizu right here. I got it's way more OP than Taiju. Like, I feel like Taiju doesn't even belong there right now, just from his abilities. This guy, what I mean by OP is that he's literally sprinting faster than boar, shoving them away, killing them. He climbs on top of trees, literally snags a bird or a duck from mid-air, snaps his neck, and even fighting off piranhas in the ocean or even the pond, and just killing them like that. And he has food ready for everyone. And that's what I'm saying, is that, like, I don't know if this guy is legit or he just got some sort of power. I don't really know, but I feel like he's just making fun of Taiju at this point, that hey, here was the brawn, here was the brains all together in episode 1. It's like, okay, the brain is still there, there's brawn here before, let's kick him out, and here's a new one there. But I feel like with this episode as well, that we see from Shizu's character, and it's clearly stated at the end of this episode, this was a too good to be true. And this was definitely something that a lot of people had to look forward to, because a lot of people are going to have different minds within this world. There's going to be people like Senku and Taiju, for example, that want to restore humanity. They don't want to be part of this Stone Age. They want to go back to normal, like to the 2019, 2020 life, where they can kind of rebuild technology and etc. like that. But with Shizu, on the other hand, he doesn't want that life anymore. He wants a calm, free mind. Like, there's always laws, there's tricks within the world that you have to follow, but within this world right here, you could basically do whatever you want. You have freedom of your hands. If you want to go swimming naked, you go and do that. Go grab your own food, or just fight off like lions, or just kill them, or etc. like that. You can go do that. And that was a thing within this episode, that it was too good to be true, that they were just going to get another person on their side. Eventually, when they get to this process like this, like what Senku just did, you're going to have people with a different mindset like that, and possibly be a villain within this series. Like, definitely Shizu 100% is going to be a villain, and is going to probably be a life threat to both Tanjiro and Senku within the further of this series, because he doesn't want adults to be around anymore. He just wants the youth to build a new society again, that hey, we as the youth are a lot smarter than them. Like, yeah, the adults will be on your side within all this process within like maybe a couple of years, but then afterwards, when we recover the rich and etc. like that, humanity will slowly get back to its strict policy, and you will be kicked out. Yeah, even though you're the first person to be part of this stone world and try to rebuild humanity, all your hard work is going to fail. And that's what basically Shizu was trying to talk to Senku within this episode. But Senku still wants to recover humanity. He still wants to be that person regardless of what happens. Like, he wants humanity to go back to the same, even if his work wasn't appreciated right there. So there's two different sides to that story, which I really like about it. And another thing what I love about this series and with Dr. Stone is we're actually learning something throughout the series. I love it so much. And just the plot line, like the simple things that we see in our everyday life, we get to see it kind of remake again. Like, a perfect example of what happened within this episode is we see them make cement, and we see them make soap, which is a really handy tool for both of them, because of course with cement, it's a bigger structure, it could hold a lot better, so they could build a better house for them to live in, and don't have to worry about, for example, like maybe storms, because it's been over 3,000 years since humanity turned to stone. So with them not kind of protecting Earth, it becoming this dangerous environment, you never know, some bad storms that could happen that are not normal that you knew back in 2019, 2020. So what's cool of what they made from cement is destroying shells, and then afterwards they're kind of making chalk, like what you see in like baseball diamonds, for example, but that could turn into cement here. So of course they break up shells altogether, which we see Tanjiro do in this episode. We have this kind of mechanism with them doing that with, of course, flames, and they create cement and made their house a lot better. Another thing with soap is that they made seaweed from the ocean and oil to create soap, and I love that, because it's a learning environment from people watching this anime from the very first time, and it's a perfect, I guess, meme, for example, that you don't have to go in the science class in school, just watch Dr. Stone. And I love that. I think it's a great anime plot within characters, and it's awesome that we're actually learning something in the first place, and I think that's really cool. And it's something that I guess anime hasn't really seen. Like, I don't know, I haven't seen all the anime in the world, but I think as my first go-to of an anime, it's really cool, of a great storyline and something that humanity, that we as the audience could actually learn from this, and maybe we could even try it at home. Like, the soap is the perfect example of just making it from seaweed and oil. So I think that's a really neat thing. But either way, that was episode 2 of Dr. Stone. Question within this series of what they're going to do right now is they used all of that liquid to get Shizu up and ready and not be turn to stone, and they're going to use it on Yuzu. But the bad news all about that is that it's taking them a year to find it. But I guess since they knew it and Senku knows what he's doing, it might be a lot quicker from the process, because even though they know the ingredients and etc. like that, I feel like it might take them a couple of months, a couple of days, a couple of weeks. We don't really know until the next episode, but I feel like they're going to be doing that with a lot of characters that we see, of course, in the opening and with the ending, that maybe they're just waking up or they use the serum on those characters, etc. like that. I don't really know. But Dr. Stone episode 2, man, it was a good series. Of course, more build up to humanity, a possible villain in the future of the anime, and of course more progress in the story that eventually we'll see. And it's still awesome that we get 24 episodes of this series and not 12 to 13. So yeah, I hope you guys all enjoyed my Dr. Stone episode 2 review. As I'm recording this, episode 3 should be available, and I should be able to get to you guys right here, right off the bat, instead of waiting a week like I did for episode 2. But if you guys enjoyed my review right here, of course, make sure to leave a like, comment down below how do you guys feel about this episode of Dr. Stone, and subscribe to the channel. That'd be greatly appreciated. But either way, guys, we'll see you, of course, in the episode 3 review of this series. Hope you guys all have a wonderful day, and YouTube, have a good one.